It is time. The West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs for the Northwest Racing Truck Series here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing, kicks off here with the fastest track in NASCAR, Hotlanta, here in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Rentz. Welcome to the Hotlanta 200 on LSR TV. I'm joined in the booth tonight by Brett Rawls here tonight on the call. And Brett, playoffs have begun here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. For 12 drivers, the quest for a championship begins now.
Yeah, this is the make or break time for all of these guys' seasons. If the time to go has definitely come for points racing, it's now. There's no turning back, as one simple race night that goes awry for you could be the end of your playoff chances at that championship at the end of the season. So be prepared for a lot of drama to unfold for some of these playoff drivers and some of the drivers that aren't in playoff contention as well, as they both try to tackle this Hotlanta track here down in Georgia. Looks like we got a pretty clear day so far, Greg, as looks like things are going to be on hand to put on some pretty good racing.
And let's take a look at those 12 playoff drivers who will be in the hunt for the championship. The top 12 on your screen right there, all reset. One point for each win on the season. That's why Dan West Jr. is your number one seed. He won 8 races this season. Jeff Stabnow second with 6 wins on the year. Stephen O'Hare jumps into a tie for third with Devin West and Sean Brightsman with his win at Talladega last week. Ottenbacher, the season opener winner at the Daytona International Speedway, was the last driver to lock himself in with victory. Tyler King, Ryan Main, Stephen Paulison, James Vining, Corey Walters, and Dan Lowther all raced their way in points. So it is on for here. That is your playoffs here for the start of this first round of the West Bay Auto Parts playoffs at Atlanta.
And looking through the live timing and scoring, it looks like your top 2 in the points, Dan West Jr. and Jeff Stabnow, pretty much the top 2 class of the field so far throughout the course of the playoffs and the regular season racing. They're pretty close as far as time goes, as things are looking here throughout the course of practices. Things get ready to come down to qualifying here.
And Jeff Stabnow, I want to talk about him for a moment in the number 24. Took him a minute to get going here in the set series, as he got a pole early in the year at Texas, but did not get that first win until Charlotte in May. Once he did, he caught fire, Brett, and he set off. Looked for a bit like he was going to lead the series in wins, but Dan West Jr. was able to capitalize.
Yeah, Dan West Jr. with 8 season wins. That is one heck of a performance to the regular season racing here for this league. As 8 wins in a season, that is definitely something to shake a stick at. And like you pointed out, Stabnow with 6. So, a lot of these guys are top notch as far as race wins go. Looking to carry on some of that momentum that they've gained throughout the course of the regular season here into the playoff racing, especially able to start things off on a hot note here at Atlanta for the first race of the playoffs.
And playoffs brings the competition out. And look at this. We got 3 drivers in the top 5 who are in the playoffs in the practice times. But a surprise up at the top. E-Dog Eric Cheney at the top of the charts in practice in the number 71 with his teammate from Northwest Thunder, Dan Lowther, the highest scored playoff driver, in second in the number 63. So keep your eyes on Lowther, Mains, and King, 3 playoff drivers. They're the fast 3 in the playoffs here tonight. And as we get set here for qualifying, we are in the drivers meeting now beginning here, Brett. So with that, the drivers are going to take a moment to get all their information ready and get ready for this race. We're going to take a break and thank some of our proud sponsors here on LSR TV. You're watching the kickoff of the West Bay Auto Parts, Napa Auto Parts playoffs here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Remake.
Welcome back, everybody, to the kickoff of the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs for the Northwest Truck Series. Here, 12 drivers getting set to start their playoff quest here for this race. 22 minutes left to go in qualifying. Don't forget, though, the series typically will advance, as you see one time on the clock already. That's Eric Cheney doing his trademark thing where he goes out during the driver's meeting, lays a lap down, takes an EOL, goes to the back of the pack and tries to work his way through the field, bum as he makes his way out on the Atlanta asphalt. But he was fastest in practice, so we'll see what happens here with the 71 car. Got some speed, or truck rather.
Yeah, it's looking like he's got everything figured out here for the first round of the playoffs at Atlanta. As you know, like you pointed out, he was at the top of the board when practice ended. So Cheney definitely has something figured out here for this race here tonight in Atlanta to kick off the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see just how fast he's able to maybe work his way through this field, and if his speed that he showed in practice is going to be able to carry on through the rest of this race night for him.
A lot of speed in that number 71 for sure. But for 12 drivers, they started off here in the playoffs. Let's take a look at the track facts here for tonight's one. Weather conditions and all the goods here in this one. Here tonight, brought to you by Race on Texas. An hour of practice just concluded. 2 laps of qualifying getting set to come up, and then 134 laps here tonight for the kickoff to the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs, Brett.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see just how times are going to differ. The times that I'm looking to see and keep an eye on is going to be that of the top 2 in points, Dan West Jr. And also Stan now. It's going to be interesting to see if these guys are able to get a little bit of gap in between them and see if they're, more so content with trying to ride out on a long run style race, or if they're going to try to get to the front quick if qualifying isn't what they think it was going to be.
Saw the track weather conditions up right now. 91 degrees for the track temperature, which is kind of cool for Atlanta, but with this old pavement, it's going to be slipping and sliding. 85 degrees ambient temperature here tonight with a 7-mile-per-hour wind coming from the northwest here for this one tonight. Going to be one heck of a show here at Atlanta. And again, this is the kickoff race for the playoffs. Going to be one wild race here in this one. Again, Dan West Jr. led the series in wins with 8 of them this season. But one driver, Brett, who has been catching some fire lately, 2 wins in the final 3 races, including Pocono and the Daytona Road Course. Sean Brightsman, who led the Cup Series in wins, he's heating up in the trucks now. He's up to 3 wins as well.
Yeah, before the race had started, we were actually in a separate room talking to Brightsman, and he was actually talking about how he was painting his wheels. So not sure if that may be, like a little bit of like some playoff ambitions for him there. Maybe he's looking for like a good luck charm, maybe his own little version of a rabbit's foot, if you will. But yeah, Brightsman's been on a little bit of a hot shoe lately. He's definitely figured out that car that he's got underneath him over the later half of this season. It's going to be interesting to see if he's able to maintain that momentum that he's built up over the last 3 races and be able to come into Atlanta and continue that dominant streak, or if we're going to see the likes of Stabnow and Dan West Jr. reclaim their dominance at the top of the point standings.
And when you talk about West Family Racing, you cannot count out the other driver in the mix, Dan West Jr.'s son, Devin West. He has 3 wins on the season as well. He has been very strong on the 1.5 miles this season, Brett, so keep your eye on the number 5 of Devin West moving forward as well. William Fletcher in the number 28 has run very limited starts in his number 28 truck, but when he is in the field, Brett, he usually does pretty good. A couple top 5s this season for the number 28 of William Fletcher. And for William Fletcher, only 14 starts, and of those 2 top 5s, they both have come in his last 2 starts in the Truck Series. 5 top 10s to go with that as well. Only running part-time here in the Truck Series. Therefore, going to be interesting to see how he can handle it in the playoffs. We also have a couple drivers making their first starts of the season here in the Truck Series. Russ Lundberg, one of them, Wayne Rick, and Nathan Clifford, 3 drivers by my count, making their first starts of the season.
Yeah, and you see drivers coming in at the beginning point of the playoffs. Obviously they're not going to be in any contention for like a championship or anything of that matter. But just that overall little bit of extra seat time that they may get into, possibly going into next season. And you pointed out the significance of playoff racing, and one thing that you pointed out as well is the father-son pairing that we have out here of Dan West Jr. and his son Devin. It's going to be pretty interesting. The last race that I was in just a little bit ago, we saw Garrett Maines and his father Jason end up getting tangled up into a wreck. So going to be pretty interesting to see if some family matters come to grips in this one here, and maybe if the family tries to get through this playoff effort together, maybe just an extra set of eyes, an extra set of hands on the setup building and everything for that, as far as adjustments and to your driving styles for this goes. It could be just that little bit of a difference maker for these guys, as like you see in real life, one bad race in the playoffs could put you from the top of the board to the bottom of the board. And, as you go through the playoff experience, you definitely don't want to find yourself towards the bottom of the standings and, find yourself on that verge of being cut out and eliminated early on, especially with a couple of races left to go in the playoffs. So it's going to be pretty interesting to keep an eye on those 12 drivers and see just how these points are going to shake out, especially with so many drivers not in point contention for that championship.
And remember, this first round is 4 races long, and these are the tracks we're going to hit. Atlanta tonight. We're off next week, October 22nd. No race here for the Northwest Truck Series. Then we move on to the road course, Watkins Glen, for 55 laps here at the Watkins Glen International Speedway. Richmond Raceway, a short track, next up for 200 laps, and then the Charlotte Oval for the cutoff race of the first round of the playoffs. Qualifying just getting set to get underway. We're going to take one more quick break before we bring you the action from qualifying here in Atlanta, here with the Northwest Truck Series on LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom T-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized. We'll do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the top quality shirts, inks and everything, hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold, to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com. We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom t-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized. I mean, we'll do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the top quality shirts, inks and everything. Hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. You can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold, to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customer and stuff. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com. We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom t-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized. I mean, we'll do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the top quality shirts, inks and everything. Hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. You can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold, to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customer and stuff. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com. We're based
Welcome back to Atlanta, everybody. Qualifying is underway. Tyler King currently sitting on top of the board at a 30.402. 14 drivers have taken time thus far, Brett, as we get set here for the opening round of the playoffs. Dennis Moore has just jumped up to a second place at a 30.416. So teammates on top of the board right now, Tyler King and Dennis Moore. By the way, the third member of that team, Stephen Paulison, or excuse me, that's Stephen O'Hare in the number 41 playoff driver. But Brett, he's not on the roster right now. He's not in this race as of yet.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see for one of our playoff drivers, especially with times being taken right now in qualifying. As right now you're rolling around with the 83 of Chris White on your screen. It's a very sharp pink and black looking hot rod there. Not sure if the pink is for breast cancer awareness or not.
Yes.
As you do say, yes, it is. Right now you see his fast lap of a 30.507, I do believe that was. As now we're going to go out with the Helveline number 28, almost looking like a throwback to a Davey Allison type skin of William Fletcher, as he's coming out now to take his current lap time. It looks like he's taking the green now for his first lap.
Had some good runs in that number 28 on track. Meanwhile, playoff driver Dan Lowther to the top of the board, winner on Monday at Talladega in the Cup Series to get himself into that round of the playoffs as well. He's on the pole in this one as well in the number 63. Right now, 19 trucks have taken time, and I know that our pit reporter tonight, Wesley Allen, was very happy for Dan Lowther to get himself into the Cups playoffs with a win. Already in the truck playoffs, Wesley, he's on top.
Yeah, Greg, going to let you handle things in the booth tonight, bud, because I had some other obligations before coming in here. But, hey, Dan Lowther coming off of that big win for the Cup Series to make his way in to the playoffs for the Northwest iRacing Cup Series. They're going to be in Atlanta this upcoming Monday night. But Dan Lowther, can he continue that momentum that he had from winning at Talladega? Could that now help him with his truck run here at Atlanta? We'll see what he can do. Right now, he's at the top of the board.
Top of 20. Thank you, Wesley. Only driver to go 30.3 right now. Him and his Northwest Thunder teammate Eric Cheney have been practicing all week long, and it shows as they both sit in the top 5 right now. But remember, Brett, Cheney went out before the conclusion of the drivers' meeting as per usual. That's kind of become his trademark here, as Jeff Stabnow goes up into the top 4 in his new breast cancer awareness truck, number 24 LSRTV Walsbeer Co. on the hood, 24 on the door. He's 4th right now.
Yeah, Jeff Stabnow making a pretty good qualifying effort as of right now. You see that 30.450. He's currently sitting 4th on the board, but one thing that I've noticed here is your current, one of the top playoff drivers, the 55 of Dan West Jr., not really having a good qualifying effort as much as he had in practice, as it looks like he's going to be down in the 11th place spot right now, so just outside the top 10 for that second place in points for your points leader of Dan West Jr. and Jeff Stabnow looking to take advantage of that as he's qualified up in P4. So a top 5 starting spot for your points leader and outside the top 10 for second place in points.
Drivers that have yet to take a qualifying time include Tom Green, Carl Burke, Ray Fournier, and the man making his debut, Nathan Clifford, as well. Chris Torres, who had a fantastic performance at Talladega last week. Single car ops in that race last Thursday night for Chris Torres in the number 99, and looks like he's flying solo again. Looks like he's in communication with Chris White in the number 83, 2-time winner on the Cup side for him this season, but yet to break through in that truck series just yet. 21 trucks have taken time here as we're closing in. Should be moving on here with just a couple of moments. And Brett, going to be a long one. 134 laps here tonight in this one. Opening round of the playoffs, brought to you by West Bay Napa Auto Parts, and we get set to go. 134 laps tonight.
Yeah, 134 laps is definitely quite the lengthy race here for a Cup Series schedule, let alone being in the truck. So the truck's getting a little bit of extra distance from what I'm used to seeing in the iRacing leagues out there as per normal. So I think it's going to give a little bit of extra time for some extra crazy racing here for this opening round of the playoffs, as it looks like qualifying is getting ready to come to a close here. So we're getting ready to get your starting lineup here for your first playoff race here for the Northwest Truck Series.
27 strong here tonight for the Northwest Truck Series playoffs, brought to you by West Bay Auto Parts. As the field begins to roll to the grid, Brett, let's go 10 at a time as we introduce to you your starting lineup here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. And it's Northwest Thunder on the pole with Dan Lowther into number 63, Tyler King with another great qualifying effort in the 44, two playoff drivers on the front row, Dennis Moore into number 34, teammate to Tyler King. Their playoff teammate, Stephen O'Hare, not in the field tonight. Jeff Stabnow to his outside. Eric Cheney qualified 5th. However, he is going to take the EOL for starting at the 10, or qualifying before the drivers meeting had concluded. Toby Ritter's nice qualifying effort, best one of his season so far, 6th. Ryan Maines, Chris White make up row number 8. Sean Breitzman and Devin West, 2 new look breast cancer awareness rides, round out your top 10.
Starting just outside the top 10 is going to be your current points leader on the series. That's the 55 of Dan West Jr. To his outside is going to be the number 11 car of Frank Harris. Starting row number 7 on the inside, it's going to be the 333 of James Vinning. And to his outside is going to be that Helveline number 28 of William Fletcher. Starting row number 8 on the inside is going to be the 89 of John Ottenbacher. And to his outside is going to be the number 9 of Corey Walters. Row number 9 on the inside is going to be the 54 of Robert Gamble, and to his outside is going to be the 805 of Wayne Rick. And position starting in row number 10 on the inside is going to be the 58 of Stephen Paulison, and to his outside starting P20 is going to be the 129 of Russ Lundberg.
Final car to take time truck, was the 2 of James Thurston, with Carl Burke taking the first provisional in 22nd. Other drivers on provisionals: Ray Fournier, Chris Torres, Nathan Clifford, Tom Green, and Dan Stussy. 27 strong here for the debut of the Northwest Truck Series. And I believe Wesley has caught up with our pole sitter, Dan Lowther.
Dan Lowther won Talladega to get position number 12 for the Cup Series to make the playoffs, and now he's in the Napa West Bay Auto Parts playoffs for the Truck Series, also in position 12. But Dan Lowther, you're on the pole. Talk about how tonight's been so far in Hotlanta.
It's been really good. Me and my teammate Eric Cheney have been really pushing hard, practicing all week for this track, and really working on our setups. And me and him figured out a pretty solid qual setup and race setup.
What would it mean to you to carry that momentum from the win at Talladega Monday night here for the trucks tonight at Atlanta and try to advance into the round of 8 from the playoffs?
Oh, that'd be great. That'd just be take a lot of pressure off me to just punch the ticket straight through.
Dan Lowther, Tyler King on the front row. Greg Rance, we're ready to come to green here in Atlanta. He's ready to try to win again after carrying that momentum with the victory at Talladega for the Cup Series to go to the playoffs on Monday. We'll watch that green 63 tonight.
Thank you, Wesley, as they come through turn number 4. A little bit of a different camera package here at Atlanta tonight, so we're not going to be able to kick the asphalt tonight, but race fans at home, wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point harness, because it is showtime at Atlanta. We're underway, Brett.
Absolutely. We have a whole field of trucks screaming into turn number 1. As of right now, it looks like it's going to be the 44 of Tyler King getting the advantage on this field on the outside lane. He's making the outside work already, as it looks like he's going to be clear, and he's going to bring that 24 of Jeff Stabnow in tow, as it looks like we're going to be side by side. Oh, we got one getting sideways.
Stabnow.
Stabnow, one of your playoff drivers, getting real sideways. He's going to have to come down to the grass. So this is very disastrous for one of your playoff drivers, as it's very early in the playoffs. As you pointed out, Greg, there is 4 races, but with one of those races being the Roval and a road course in the playoffs, these other 3 tracks, you really want to be able to get the best run that you can, barring any issues that you have at that road course.
Good news for Stabnow is he has done very good at both Charlotte and Richmond, the 2 other tracks you mentioned besides Watkins Glen in the playoffs. So he's not out of it just yet, but has his work cut out for him today. Definitely not the start you want to your playoffs, but Tyler King is having the start that he wants to this playoffs, leading the way here in the early stages at Atlanta with Peels Oranges on the hood of that Ford F-150. Dan Lowther in the number 63 in second. Ryan Maines, playoff driver, who's had a very quiet season so far, but has done a fantastic job getting himself into the playoffs. How about this, Brett? Dan West Jr. started 11th, already up to 4th. Watch out for your regular season champion.
Yeah, I think Dan West may have been the beneficiary for all that little bit of sideways action there when Stabnow got a little bit loose. I think it stacked up a whole bunch of trucks there, and I think he was able to take advantage of it as you see him diving down to the inside of the 63 of Lowther now. So the 55 wasting absolutely no time trying to get to the front of this pack here, as he's got that 55 LSR TV sponsor, breast cancer awareness number 55, heading in the right direction.
1 truck already out of the race. That is Russ Lundberg. Unfortunate to not have the debut going his way here in this one here early. Tyler King has led all 4 laps that have been completed thus far. Maines in second. West Jr. up to 3rd. Dan Lowther for Northwest Thunder not getting the start that he wanted in that number 63, but still plenty of time to settle it down. Meanwhile, his teammate Eric Cheney already up 3 spots to the 24th position. Make it 4 as he gets around Chris Torres. Now going after the 95 of Clifford. So Cheney making moves through the field. He's trying to follow Jeff Stabnow up through the field. And Brett, no better guy to follow through than the guy who has 6 wins on the season, including one here at a track very similar to this, Charlotte. We're talking about that man. 24 on the door for Jeff Stabnow.
Yeah, Jeff Stabnow has definitely got these trucks figured out. As you pointed out, 6 wins on the season. That's definitely pretty impressive to string together for any driver, especially to be able to go to the back like he did as qualifying efforts just outside the top 10. And he qualified 4th and then fell outside the top 10 because of a little bit of a hiccup there getting sideways. But Stabnow's, he's got a pretty good hot rod underneath that number 24. I wouldn't be surprised to see him towards the front of this field towards the end of the 134 laps here. But the interesting thing that I've noticed here throughout the first couple of laps here, Greg, is these Ford F-150 trucks, for the most part, on the iRacing scene, it was mostly just the Chevy Silverados and the Toyota Tundras. The Ford F-150 is actually the newest addition to the truck stables here for the iRacing system. Newest truck to be put out there for us. So Ford, the manufacturer of Ford, getting to show off their stuff here on iRacing for the trucks. This is actually the first time I've seen a lot of Fords showing a lot of strength here towards the front of the pack. So I think maybe the Ford F-150s may have figured something out here for Atlanta to give these Chevys and Toyotas a run.
Yeah, Ford joined the party not this past or build, as we like to call it, but the build before, back in June, and they joined the party, and a lot of drivers made the switch immediately over to the F-150, and it's paying off here for Tyler King, who leads the way. Ryan Maines in second, Dan West Jr. in his Chevy in third. Dan Lowther, one of those drivers who was very excited to make the switch over to Ford, although he still runs the Chevy Camaro in the Cup Series that runs on Monday nights. Again, his big win at Talladega this past Monday night, getting him into those playoffs as well. They kick off right here in Atlanta, but the battle is beginning to brew here for the lead between Tyler King and Ryan Maines in the number 13. 10 laps in the books. Tyler King has led all 10 of them. Wesley, what are you seeing down in the pits here early?
Hey, right now everybody is just kind of looking at how things are going right now, conserving tire wear, making sure that they're watching their fuel gauges as well. But again, it's still too early right now. And right now, Tyler King also trying to get a win here on the series. We'll see what he can do. Garrett Maines, or the driver actually of Ryan Maines, doing a good job in that number 2 spot. The 13 machine, the Atari Colors, doing well on the racetrack. And Dan West Jr., the man that's running for a championship as well, sitting in the top 3. And you notice a lot of these drivers are donning pink on their vehicles in honor and, of course, the observance of October and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But for right now, everybody comfortable how they are here at Hotlanta in the early going.
Probably the boldest change for the drivers representing the breast cancer awareness would probably be one of our Team LSR TV drivers. I want you to take a look at the pink number 89 here in 10th position, John Ottenbacher in the number 89. There he is, bright pink number 89 on screen, rocking and rolling here and trying to get himself into the top 10. He just did, getting around Fletcher in that number 28. Bright pink number 10, 89 on board, started 15th, already up to 10th here in this one, Brett.
And, you know, it's like Wesley pointed out, Greg, you know, tire wear is very crucial here at Atlanta. Atlanta's very heavy on tire wear for a lot of these trucks as throughout the green flag runs go. So as these drivers like West power back to the front and Stabnow drives through the field, and, you know, drivers like the 89 of Yes, the 89 of John Ottenbacher. It's going to be interesting to see if, you know, they push their trucks just a little bit too hard and start wearing up them tires a little bit too early in the run, or if, you know, they're just kind of sitting back, clicking off some laps and, you know, really seeing what their trucks can do over the course of this first green flag run versus trying to get, you know, the most out of their trucks at this point.
One guy who is also we're keeping an eye on, seeing exactly what he is doing, is the number 55 of Dan West Jr. He's not saving tires exactly, I would say, because he has gone from 11th to 2nd here in just 15 laps. It'll be 15 on the board when they come by the stripe this time. Tyler King has led all of them thus far, but he has a very fast Chevy Silverado behind him, and that is the driver who leads the series in wins. That's Dan West Jr., the 55.
Yeah, that 44, Tyler King, he's been absolutely lights out since we started this race. He had a very big gap over the second place car at the time of the 13 of Ryan Maines. But as you pointed out, as soon as that 55 of Dan West Jr. was able to clear that 13 truck, he has just been absolutely reeling in this 44 truck. So going to be interesting to see if, you know, Dan West Jr. showing his hand here, you know, in the early stages of this race, trying to get to the front, or if this is just, you know, him trying to take advantage of a green flag run and possibly set up some fuel and pit strategies here. But he's looking to be tracking down that 44 at a pretty high rate of speed. As you see the 44 get a little loose off the corner, that's going to allow West, that's going to allow West to get down to the inside. So put Dan West Jr. to the lead here after starting P11. 17 laps later, he's up in the lead, Greg.
Same thing happened to Ryan Maines behind him. He's going to lose 3 spots in that one. But like we saw right here on your screen, Dan West Jr. to the lead, 8 wins on the season, looking for win number 9 here to kick off the playoffs. By the way, got an update. Russ Lundberg had technical difficulties on his number 129, just 2 laps into the race. Definitely unfortunate, Russ. We hope to see you back here next week, maybe, or actually, excuse me, 2 weeks from tonight, as we are off next week. We go to Watkins Glen for round number 2 of the playoffs. Hope to have you back in this one. Dan West Jr. leading the way here early. Lap 19 beginning on the board. Biggest mover of the race thus far has been Dan West Jr. up 10 spots. Other drivers making moves are Carl Burke. He's up 9 spots from 22nd to 13th. James Thurston in the number 2. He's also up 10 spots. He started 21st up to 11th. Checking in with Eric Cheney, who qualified 5th, but because of how he does qualifying in his Jack Daniels Ford F-150, he had to start tail end Charlie on an EOL penalty. He's up to 22nd now.
As you continue to ride up front, you pointed out the momentum that the 55 of West was able to get, but the 44 of Tyler King not letting him slip away, as he is still within a truck length of the back bumper of West. So Tyler King and West showing, so far throughout the first course of these 20 laps, they're pretty much the class of the field, as these two have pretty much laid waste to the rest of this field, and they've opened up a pretty big gap all the way over actually Dan West's son's Devin West in that third position in that number 5. So as you can see, that gap starting to expand a little bit for King and West. Keep an eye on that third, fourth, and fifth place cars of West, White, and Dan Lauer to see if they're able to possibly catch these guys if these guys start getting a little battle heavy for these top 2 positions, especially getting closer and closer to a pit stop run here in the near future.
Devin West closing in, trying to reel him in, 1.6 seconds back of his father and Tyler King. But King is going back to the inside. New leader, Tyler King, gets it into turn number 1. So King showing a lot of speed again in the Peels Oranges number 44, but he's going to need some fresh peels on the wheels of that number 44 because pit stops are going to be coming up. And Brett, at a track like this, we call Atlanta the cheese grater, if you will. It's not so much the fuel mileage you got to worry about. It's those tires and how much life you can have in them earlier today.
Yeah, like I said, Atlanta is very harsh on tires. It's a very fine line here if you want to do a little bit of tire conservation. As you see these front 2 trucks with King and West, if you watch how they enter the corner, they're actually driving in a little bit deeper and entering on the high side and sort of like, I guess you could say diamonding off the corner, if you will. They enter on the high side, let that truck roll just a little bit, bring it down to the white line like you see there in the 44 West, and then once they get that truck to set coming off the corner, it's just hammered back down. But it looks like we're going to get a caution flag here on lap 23. So our first caution flag here at Atlanta for the playoffs, Greg.
See, Wayne Rick has already gone behind the wall in the 805, trying to here as we try to figure out what happened. He's looking at Toby Ritters, who started in 6th but had fallen back outside the top 20. Take a look at our first swag replay of the night, trying to figure out what put us under a swag yellow flag. Toby Ritters in the number 23. He's already got some damage there on the front. Not seeing anything to possibly trigger a caution here in the number 23, so we're still searching for it. One other truck went behind the wall. It was the 805 of Wayne Rick. Oh, there's a truck stopped up there. That may have been the 805 of Wayne Rick that was stopped up there. Let's see if that was indeed the case. There you see the 805. That was coming off turn 4. This on screen is going down the backstretch, so see what happened to the 805. Oh yeah, breaking loose, and Air Jordan, nice save there initially. Oh, he got a rim shot and got himself stuck in the wall. When you're going 190 miles an hour, you come to a dead stop, that hurts.
Yeah, as you saw there, he was just battling that truck just a little bit. As you saw him get a little loose, and I got to give him credit. He almost had that truck saved, and saving these trucks once they break a little bit loose, especially at a track like Atlanta, it's definitely no easy feat to get that rear end to sit steady and come back to life in your favor and be able to pull out of it. But as you see, just a little bit of an overcorrection, and that was enough to put him head first into the wall. But it looks like we got a bunch of guys coming down for pit stops. So the whole field coming down for pit stops. This may shake up the running order a little bit here, Greg.
That pit stop's already complete, but Wesley looks like much of the same here on or off and on pit road.
Yeah, Dan West Jr. came down onto the pit lane first. He exits first. 4 tires and fuel for the LSR TV number 55 entry. Looks like he is possibly going to be coming back down to the pit lane again, as he will be coming back down to the pits. Tyler King also exited the pit second. Devin West third. Everybody in the top 20 for the most part coming down for service. And Dan West Jr. again coming down pit road by himself. Currently 10th right now. We'll have to find out what's going on with truck number 55. I'll give you an update here in just a second.
All right, Wesley's going to catch up with the team on the number 55 and see what's going on. While he does that, we're going to take a quick commercial break here. Lap 26 here on the playoff opener for the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs. You're watching the Northwest Truck Series on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Welcome back to Atlanta, everybody. Lap 26 on the board. West Family Racing has a new contender up on the front row. It'll be Devin West. Wesley, you caught up with the crew on the 55. What happened there on that pit stop?
Well, it's bottom line. Dan West Jr. overshot his pit stall when he came down to the pit lane under this first caution on lap 23, and he had to cycle back around, decided to just continue to enter back onto the racetrack and then pit again, and that's going to be devastating for him, as right now his son Devin West is going to be on the outside of the front row on this restart. You've got now Dan West Jr. mired all the way back at the top 20. He will restart 23rd, as again we'll get ready to come back to green. But a tough break, man, for the guy that's pretty much been dominating the Northwest iRacing Truck Series. And as we move into the playoffs, into the round of 12, to the Championship 8, onto the Final 4, you do not want to make these types of errors and mistakes, especially on the pit lane. They cost you dearly. You'll see Dan West Jr., he's still got plenty of time, but again, he's mired in the back right now in the top 20.
So suddenly, Brett, your top two seeds entering the playoffs, Jeff Stabnow and Dan West Jr., both with issues in the first 25 laps of the playoffs. Speaking of playoffs, Tyler King, Devin West, Sean Brightsman, and Dan Lowther, your top 4 playoff drivers. First, second, fourth, and fifth, and then you got Corey Walters up there as well. New look for him, sporting the Napa 9. We've seen that in victory lane a time or two this season, but Tyler King going to bring him up through the gearbox, and we are back underway.
And you see the jump that the front row was able to get, and it looks like they're going to bring that outside second row with them as well. The 46 machine of Sean Brightsman. So Brightsman having a pretty good run here throughout the first half of this race here. We pointed that out at the beginning of the broadcast. He's been on pretty much of a hot shoe lately, and he's looking to carry some momentum here through Atlanta. So Brightsman sitting fourth right now. Keep an eye on him as he gets closer to the front here, Greg.
Yeah, Sean Brightsman, 3 wins on the season in the Truck Series, but leads the Cup Series in wins with 6 on the season, including a sweep at the Daytona Road Course a couple of weeks ago. Meanwhile, up front, Devin West, another driver with 3 wins on the season. He's trying to get win number 4. He has been very strong on the mile and a half, such as this one we're on tonight. But Tyler King has had a lot of speed in the 44 all season long, just has yet to break through for that win. He's looking strong, though, led the most laps early.
Yeah, that 44 is definitely setting the pace here tonight at Atlanta. But pretty interesting to note here, Devin West is looking like he's going to be able to set the same pace with that 44 just as well as his dad did previously, as we got cars or trucks going around on the back, as we got one coming back in front of people. It looks like we're gonna go back under caution flag here, and looks like some troubles for that Napa number 9 that you pointed out there, Greg.
Yeah, that's a playoff driver. Corey Walters, our 3rd playoff driver to have issues. 2nd swag yellow flag of the night. Taking a look on the replay, saw Carl Burke as well up here in the 53. Swag replay on screen. Brett, you saw it.
Yeah, looks like the 46 of Brightsman just pushed a little bit. The 9 car just tried to duck up underneath him, get in line. It ended up putting him 3 wide racing, and 3 cars fighting under a blanket for the same spot. It looks like everybody just ran out a little bit of real estate there, Greg.
And that's just playoff racing right there. You're trying to get up there and get as many spots as you can to try to hold on and get yourself in position. Wesley, I want to throw it to you for a second because it's only been a couple of laps here at Atlanta, but you have unlimited tires. Who do you think's going to pit? Looks like we're going to have at least the top two.
Yeah, the whole cavalry is going to be coming down to the pit lane. When you have the opportunity to have unlimited tires and be able to fill up the tanks again, you're going to see that as here comes the Pilsar and Gentry. Tyler King onto the pit lane. Chris White is in. So is Dan Lowther, Sean Brightsman, Ryan Maines, Thurston, Paulison, Fletcher, Harris, Cheney, Clifford, Gamble, Tom Green. All these drivers inside the top 25 taking on 4 tires and fuel, ready to go back out there again. By the way, Devin West did not pit. He'll stay behind the toe of the pace car. In the leader of the number 5, John Ottenbacher. Jeff Stabnow taking advantage of this, and so is also Dan West Jr. And I don't say that I blame them on strategy, Greg, because we've only been 2 laps since the last time we had a caution and they made pit stops. This is good track strategy to get back inside the top 10.
Thank you, Wesley. Trying to gain some different strategies here and gain some track position back. Only a couple laps here on these tires before we go back to green flag racing. Brett, Devin West going to lead the way for the first time, but we got a barrage of pink LSR TV trucks here in your top 4 right now.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Devin West, John Ottenbacher, Jeff Stabnow, Dan West Jr., and the 333 of James Vinning going to be your top 5. And the thing that's going to be interesting to me is going to see Dan West Jr. and Devin West both starting within the first 2 rows, but opposite rows of each other. Devin West will be on the inside of the front row being the leader. Dan West Jr. will be on the outside of that second row. It's going to be pretty interesting to see if, father-son do a little bit of working together to possibly, take off on a 2-car tandem and gap a little bit of the field, especially trying to take over with a little bit of track position that they're going to have over that 44 of Tyler King, who currently is scored 9th after going into that the pit stops last time by. So the top 6 cars did not pit, so it's going to be interesting to see, if some of these guys towards the top 6 try to work together in order to get away from some of these guys that have went in and pit and lost a little bit more to that track position.
So as we're under caution, lap 33 working right now. Say hello to our viewers in the chat. We got 17 of you guys watching us right now. Jason and Kristen, excited for the action. Bring on the trucks. And Kathy eating an Oreo McFlurry. Where is mine? We got RGL Motorsports. That's Chris Lundberg, who made the start in this one. Unfortunately, had those technical issues just 2 laps into the race. Did not make it, but just 2 laps. Sorry for that. And again, we hope to see you next week here at Watkins Glen, or 2 weeks from now here at Watkins Glen. And Jason Larson also in the chat cheering on James Vine, the Catman in the 333.
Yeah, as you pointed out, Watkins Glen coming up on the schedule. That's honestly, I'd have to say that's probably one of my favorite tracks as far as the NASCAR schedule goes. I am a little bit biased on that, being a New Yorker by birth and having Watkins Glen in the back pocket, so to speak. But Watkins Glen, one of those staples of the NASCAR circuit, Greg. So as we go there throughout the course of the playoff racing, it's gonna be bittersweet for some of these drivers that are in the playoff contention to go to a road course for a playoff race. So a lot of these guys that don't do well on road course looking to capitalize, especially with the top contenders like Stabnow and Dan West Jr. Struggling here off the early get-go here at Atlanta.
And I gotta say, I fancy myself an oval guy. I've been around the sport of oval racing since I was the age of 2. Never been big on road course per se, but gotta say, Watkins Glen, always one of the races I look forward to the most. No matter what the series is, always gotta count Watkins Glen in as one of the favorite races of the season. That's coming up just next week, or 2 weeks from now. I gotta get that straightened out in my mind, because we are going back green flag racing here with 100 laps to go. Devin West leading the way with John Ottenbacher in second. That's a whole lot of LSR TV up at the front 4 as we're green flag racing.
As we're almost going to have some 3-wide action going there for second, as Devin West trying to get out to an early lead, as he's got to a little bit of a gap there off the initial start, but sitting back there in fourth is his father, that 55 of Dan West Jr., that he's looking to take a dive down to the inside right now, that 89 of Ottenbacher, as he's right there on the back bumper of Stabnow. So your top two in points now sitting within the top three on the racetrack. Look at things to get a little bit heated up here for some playoff racing for your playoff drivers, as you got father-son running first and third, and then you've got second place in points running second. So going to be interesting to see if father-son plays a little bit of a tag team here on Stabnow in an effort to try to help out with some points racing here as we get closer and closer to lap number 37, as they're going to come around this time by and tick off another one here, Greg.
Top 8 drivers all in the playoffs. West, Stabnow, West, Ottenbacher, King, Maines, Vining, and Lowther all in the playoffs. Remember, from King on back, with the exception of Vining, they've already gotten past him on fresher tires. As the top 5 on that restart stayed out. You're seeing the fresher tires in action right now. Tyler King up in the 44, trying to make a run on the outside. Here comes West Jr. to the inside, following Stabnow past his son Devin. Stabnow is going to lead the lap after mowing the grass on the initial start. He's taking advantage, no doubt, of all those tires you got available, but Tyler King on fresher tires than these guys, trying to get up there and make moves. He wants to lead back. He has a stellar run in the 44 truck. He thinks tonight might be the night, and what better way than to start the playoffs off with your first career victory.
Absolutely. Tyler King, absolutely not. He is not wasting any time here tonight as he restarted on that restart in position number 9. He is currently going underneath the 24 of Stabnow for position 2, and he's not going to stop there, Greg. He's going to dial it up on the inside of West Jr. So Tyler King looking to go from 9th to 1st here in the first couple of laps on those 2-lap fresher tires, as we've got some pretty tough competition here in your top 5. I'm looking for things to get pretty hot and heavy here for this top spot, as we got 3 trucks all under a blanket going for this top spot here.
Amazing with just 2 laps difference of tire wear. It looks like here at Atlanta, you just saw it as Tyler King from 9th to 1st in 5 laps. Unbelievable run for Tyler King. A lot of speed in that Ford F-150 tonight. But how about the guys back here behind these pink trucks? Ryan Maines, Dan Lowther, and James Vining hanging on. Remember, Vining, another one of those guys who stayed out. The Catman in the 333, hanging tough in the 8th spot right now. Frank Harris is creeping up into the top 10 now. He's in 11th, or in 9th in the 11 truck.
Take a look at who is just currently 2 spots outside of the top 10. That is the 71 car of Cheney. That's the driver that came out and took your qualifying lap before everybody else did and had to take that EOL penalty and start tail on this event. He's got that number 71 Jack Daniels truck going hot and heavy here, as he's looking to get inside the top 10 here, as he's already put the moves on that number 2 truck of Thurston, and he's now trying to chase down that 46 of Sean Breetzman as we come back down the front straightaway in through the little bit of a dogleg. We're almost going to be 3 wide. We are going to be 3 wide going into turn 1. So the 83 not looking to play any games, as he's going to try to do a nice 2-for-1, make that a 3-for-1 corner. So the 83 machine of Chris White passing 3 trucks in 1 corner. Looks like he's got a hot head of steam coming, Greg. Keep an eye on him to possibly make a run towards the front here.
2 wins in the Cup Series, but has yet to win in the trucks this year. Has Chris White in the 83, trying to reel in Sean Breetzman in that number 46. Cheney falls back to 14th in that one as Thurston got around him also. Corey Walters, playoff driver, behind him in 15th after using the fast repair. He's trying to come up through the field and make his way back up after restarting in 6th and getting caught up in that mess a few laps ago. Tyler King, Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow, your top 3. Devin West and John Ottenbacher rounding out the top 5 as Otto taking a peek inside of Devin West. Brett Devin returned to the asphalt scene IRL this season, climbing back behind the wheel of a legend car this season. Had a very, very good season, limited starts. I believe his worst finish of the year was 2nd in 5 different starts. Impressive comeback to the legend scene for Devin West.
Yeah, Devin West, definitely an exceptional driver behind the wheel of that number 5 machine. As you see him currently on the track right now, battling with that number 89 of Ottenbacher, as they're going to be side by side almost at the line. They are going to be going into turn 1, the 89 with a little bit of a run there. But as you see him dive down to the inside, that's going to bring the 63 of Dan Lowther in here. He is your current pole sitter from tonight, so he's fallen back a couple of positions there. But that 63 definitely showed some strength, and you pointed out the 71 of Cheney is his teammate, so keep an eye on those drivers as they've showed speed all night, whether it be through the practice times and qualifying. Both of those drivers have seen the top of the board.
Yeah, definitely want to keep your eyes on that. Northwest Thunder pick up their first win in Northwest Racing Series competition Monday night at Talladega. It was Dan Lowther in the Cup car getting that win for them. Hoping to build off that momentum they already did with a pole for Dan Lowther in the 63, playoff driver in both this season, as he's going after Devin West now. This is for 5th, trying to track down the number 5 of Devin West. Tyler King has opened it up just about a second over Dan West Jr. and Jeff Stabenow, who continue to battle for that second spot. King beginning to pull away now, and even still, as we click laps away and these tires begin to even out, still the 2-lap pressure tires still working for King right now.
Yeah, King's starting to open up that gap that you saw at the start of the race. He's starting to pull away from the likes of Dan West Jr. and Stabenow. So, for two guys that collectively have won 14 of the regular season races for this series, to be able to pull away like the 44 of Tyler King is doing, that is definitely impressive, especially at a track like Atlanta where tire factor is so important. As you see those two drivers there, the current top 2 that I was talking about, Stabenow and West, they were starting to get a little hot and heavy there, as that allowed the 89 of Otto to come into the picture. So Otto trying to make a move and get to that top podium spot, as he's trying to get past the top 2 drivers that have been hot all season. So these drivers definitely have their work cut out for them, with the likes of West and Stabenow running 2nd and 3rd.
Trying to pull away. West, Stabenow, Ottenbacher, 3 trucks under a blanket right now. Nose to tail right now as they try to sort things out. Great run for Team LSR TV. Devin West trying to hold on to the 5th spot. Don't look now. Hello, Sean Breitzman in the number 46. He's climbed up to 7th since the last time we checked in on him when he was outside the top 10. So the Toyota of Sean Breitzman coming through the field.
Yeah, and you're starting to see, it doesn't really matter what chassis you have, whether it be that Ford F-150, the Toyota Tundra, or the Chevy Silverado. Atlanta definitely not showing any favorites to any of the chassis manufacturers this evening, as it's been pretty much even. You got Tyler King out front, sporting one of the models. Then you've got West sporting, I believe, in a Chevy Silverado. So, Ford, Toyota, and Chevy all having pretty good race nights here tonight, as I'm pretty interested to see what can happen here if Breitzman's able to get up here in this top 5. If we do have another caution, what it's going to bring out with, everybody coming down for tires and pit fuel strategy, probably around the same thing like we've seen previously. Going to be interesting to see if that 46 is able to dial up anything with that Toyota, to see if he can keep that momentum that he's been building over the past couple of races alive, as right now he's looking to go into the top 5, as he's going to take a shot underneath that 13 of Maines. So the 46 wasting absolutely no time trying to get back to the front.
You mentioned tires a moment ago. Wesley, we're getting some laps clicked away here on this green flag run, closing in on 20 laps on this set of tires. How long do you think before we would start seeing green flag tires here with these trucks at Atlanta?
I got a feeling we're coming up on halfway here very shortly, and I got a feeling probably around lap 70 to 75 we'll start seeing drivers making their way onto the pit lane. And by the way, the first 2 times have been under yellow flag pit stops. I think if we keep this this green flag run sequence going on. It's going to shuffle up the leaderboard. The scoring pylon will change. And again, green flag pit stops are going to have to be a premium. You've got to be able to hit your marks and not make any mistakes. But I got to give props to Stabnow and also Dan West Jr. to come back from their hiccup at the beginning of the race. They're currently right now in second and fourth. But again, around lap 70 to 75, we'll start seeing the crews come on and get their air guns ready virtually, the tires, fuel cans. We'll see them come to the pit lane for green flag pit stops.
That would be about 35 laps on the green flag run, Wesley. So we'll keep an eye out for laps 70 to 75, 30 to 35, maybe even 40 laps if you can really be patient with your truck and try to nurse those tires. BJ Tidrick, who runs in the Cup Series, makes occasional starts. He talks about babysitting the right side tires, especially on a track like this. You have to really be careful with the tires here in this one. And maybe Tyler King's beginning to think like that and realize he still has to get a little bit more life out of those tires because he's losing ground now to Stabnow as Breitzman has moved up into third. He's gotten around his two LSRTV teammates, Ottenbacher and West Jr., trying to reel in Stabnow now, but King is really beginning to let off the throttle and let Stabnow reel him back in a little bit here, Brett.
Yeah, you can see on your screen just how much that gap has closed from the last time that we saw these two. Stabnow starting to reel in King, like you pointed out. Not sure, if that's matter of the tire wear or what now, because Stabnow actually has about 6 lap older tires than Tyler King does. So I think that may just be, the way that he's got his truck set up is we have one truck down off the apron that looks like that's the 13 of Maine's having a little bit of an issue. He's going to be able to gather it back up and keep it going. We're going to stay green flag racing. But I think what you're seeing right now on the screen, Greg, is I think you're seeing Stabnow, just with a better long run setup. He's got the older tires, so I don't think the tire wear is what's what's keeping Tyler King from slowing down. I think Stabnow's just got a better long run truck than Tyler King. But, Tyler King definitely no slouch here tonight. As you see, he's able to keep that distance at bay, but keep an eye out just towards off the screen there. Look who's sitting in third right now, Greg. That 46 of Breitzman, he's making his way to the front.
Breitzman was a Cup winner at Atlanta earlier this season. By the way, just for reference, we talked about Breitzman winning the Cup race at Atlanta. If you want to know who won the truck race at Atlanta earlier this season, back on April 16th, look no further than 6th place, Dan West Jr., the 55. He was the race winner at Atlanta back in April, looking to sweep the season, I should say, here in hot Atlanta, which is living up to its name here thus far, as it is 90 degrees on the track right now and creeping up even more here in this one. But Brett, King is under pressure now from both Stabnow and Breitzman, and Ottenbacher lurking.
Yeah, I think Breitzman right now may have the best truck on the track, as he is just absolutely laid waste. He has went from outside the top 10 to now looking for second and possibly even trying to set up a 2-for-1 and take the lead. As you're going to see Stabnow take a shot down to the inside of King going through turns 1 and 2. That's just going to help Breitzman's case even more, as you should see him pull up on the back bumper here through 1 and 2 and down to the back straightaway, as he's going to be almost to the inside, side by side with King. He may have the run through 3 and 4 to be able to pull a 2-for-1, but Stabnow, realizing just that run he was able to get off of that and coming back to the bottom and closing the door on him. So put Stabnow back to the lead as we come around to tick off one more lap. What's going to be side by side at the line, but give the position to that 46 of Breitzman, as now Tyler King looking up on the high side trying to make something work. I think he may have pushed his truck just a little bit too hard, Greg. I think he may have burned them tires off.
About 7 laps from halfway in this one here, Brett. And as we click the laps away, Stabnow and Breitzman now up 1 and 2 for Team LSRTV. For Beaver State Racing's Tyler King representing Oregon in third, Ottenbacher in the number 89 in fourth, Devin West in a solid fifth right now. Chris White and Dan Lowther have both gotten around Dan West Jr. West Jr. has fallen to eighth, the April winner here. Lowther has fallen back now from Chris White. Chris White's coming in a big hurry here, Brett. He's closing in.
Yeah, Chris White has definitely got a head full of steam as he's currently sitting sixth on the track right now. He's got a couple of cars in front of him of Devin West in the 5 car and the 89 of John Ottenbacher, as well as your current race leader, the 24 of Jeff Stabnow, who are on a lot older tires than him and a couple other drivers around him. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see if we stay green flag racing, Greg, just how many laps sooner Stabnow and these guys come down versus guys that came down on lap 31 like King. So keep your eye on some pit strategies, as pit strategies are very common here at Atlanta, especially with how much tire wear is affected here, especially over long green flag runs like this. You've seen that 44 King go from the fastest car on the track to now struggling in that third position, just from possibly the overuse of his tires. But these top three, as you see Stabnow make a little bit of a mistake, he's going to catch the wall. That's going to put Brightsman to the lead, and that's possibly even going to hand over King that second position as well.
Yeah, Stabnow falling to the back. By the way, pit window is open. Chris Torres came down on number 99, and he's on pit road again for a second time, getting some tires here on it in the number 99. Wesley, what you seeing down there with Torres?
It's going to be 4 tires and fuel on Torres. He's already pulled down and away on that 99 Mountain Dew truck. Good pit stop for him, and I believe it's just going to open up the opportunity for the Cavalry to come in as we speak here in just a few moments.
King to the inside of Brightsman for the lead. He's got it clear off of turn number 4. No, back comes Brightsman on the outside. Contact between them, and King has some damage now on the right rear of that truck.
Yeah, just a little bit of contact, as it looked like Brightsman was trying to hold on to that outside run with the little bit of momentum that he had with those fresher tires, but it looked like just a little bit of contact, as I'm not too sure if there's serious contact on that right rear quarter panel of the 44 King, but definitely sent him for a whirl, as you see him falling all the way back to third place right behind Stabnow. So 44 of Tyler King had his hands full there for a minute to try to save that truck and avoid any further collisions with that 46 of Brightsman, but Brightsman now starting to open up his lead ever since that little bit of contact. So I think Brightsman, having the best truck on the track right now, is going to be able to pull away from the field just a little bit more, especially these front two of Stabnow and King, as we go into the green flag pit stops.
Yeah, pit stop on the way. We're going to be halfway this time by. We're going to go side by side now, so when we come back, we'll be able to carry you pit stops side by side on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Back live here at Atlanta. Wesley, we are underway with pit stops right when you said lap 70 to 75. We're seeing our drivers on pit road.
Yeah, either my strategy worked perfectly or the calculator I had in front of me pulled off perfectly as well. But again, drivers on the pit lane, including drivers like Tyler King is pitted. Jeff Stabnow just coming off the pit lane right now with the number 24. Chris White came in. Dan Leather came in. Right now, Carl Burke is leaving the pit lane. So is also Dennis Moore, Tom Green, James Vining, Nathan Clifford, Eric Cheney, just some of the drivers that are on the pit lane right now, and it is shuffling up the scoring pylon as we get closer to lap 75.
Looks like the top 7 still yet to come in. That's Breitzman, Maines, Thurston, Paulison, Fletcher, Gambill, and Fournier. And Fournier looks like he's coming down pit road this time. Stussy in the wall behind him. Here comes the 26 of Ray Fournier. Can confirm Eric Cheney has climbed out of the number 71. They have not officially parked it for today, but he is not in the driver's seat of the 71 right now as Fournier is on pit road, Wesley.
And here comes also the Catman James Vining, the 333. He'll come down to the pit lane as well a few moments ago for service. Robert Gamble is on the pit lane right now in truck number 26. Ray Fournier also on the pit lane. William Fletcher now drops out of the top 5. He'll come onto the pits for service. It'll be 4 tires. Fill up those Sunoco tanks and get them back out there ready to go here for what could possibly be the next to last money stop. I still got a feeling, guys, they're not going to be able to go to the finish from here. And of course, we still await the leader, Sean Breitzman, Ryan Maines, James Thurston, and Stephen Paulison with a good run in the top 5. They still have to pit.
Look at the speed differential as King goes by on the outside of your race leader, Sean Breitzman, in that new breast cancer awareness number 46 LSR-TV Toyota. Top 4 yet to pit here, Wesley, as Breitzman, Maines, Thurston, and Paulison. They're the ones who we still are waiting to see when they pay you a visit down there on pit road. Not seeing any signs from anyone coming this lap. Still waiting for the rest of the field to cycle their way through. No one coming down this time.
And the interesting thing to point out, Greg, is the longer that the 46 of Breitzman stays out on these old tires, yes, as you can see on the ticker, he does have a significant gap. But as you take a look back, you know, some of these drivers that have came in and pit, like the 44 of King, he is getting closer and closer on those fresher tires to Breitzman. So is this the, you know, is this really the right call for Breitzman as you see him duck down onto pit lane now? It's going to be interesting to see if he's able to regain that lead when he comes back out, or if he was able to give the 44 Tyler King just a little bit extra time to reel him in.
Wesley, top 2 coming to you. Maines with the slide.
Yeah, and Ryan Maines definitely had to get on the binders when he came on up the exit of the racetrack onto the pit lane. Squealing tires, might have flat spotted him. Thank goodness he's going to pit stall number 13 to get his new 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Ryan Maines in the top 5 whenever he come to the pit lane. Sean Breitzman, you just mentioned, he pulls off of the pit lane now. 4 tires, fuel on both trucks, as now these drivers now make their way around off the pit lane back onto the track. James Thurston now will be the leader in the 2, followed by Stephen Paulison, and then it will reset the scoring pylon and put Tyler King back up at the top of the board.
So just 2 cars or trucks left to come down pit road. They are about half a second apart on the backstretch right now, and they are going down. It's the 2 of Thurston, the 58 of Paulison. As you see, Breitzman getting back up to speed along with Beaver State Racing's number 34 of Dennis Moore. But Thurston and Paulison, the only 2 trucks left to not come down pit road just yet. It's going to cycle back. Tyler King leading the way. There you see Paulison in second. You see what the fresh differential is doing with Corey Walters in the 9. There, Brett, is your race leader, the 2 of James Thurston.
Yeah, waiting for Thurston to come down for pit lane, as it looks like Thurston and Paulison are going to be sitting ducks here for Tyler King in the near future, as he is coming and in a hurry. And then it's about a 7-second gap between him and what will be second place on the track of Devin West. So it looks like this fuel strategy and pit stop strategy for the 44 Tyler King over this green flag run has significantly opened up that boost and that gap for him there. And the interesting thing to point out, if you remember, Greg, Tyler King, he's been really dominant off the first half of his fuel and tire runs here, but I think he may just be pushing the tires a little bit too hard. So, if you remember correctly, he falls back towards the second half of the run. So keeping an eye on that 44 to see just how big of a gap he's able to get with these fresh tires and that lead he already has once these two in front of him come down and pit. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody's able to catch him over the long run without a caution, especially with the strength that 44 has shown all day.
But remember, he was one of the first trucks to come down pit road. Most of the drivers behind him are in the... Well, that's going to change everything. Third swag yellow flag of the day, and Tyler King is the one that brings out the caution. Swag replay on screen. This is third place Tyler King in the 44. I was watching the battle behind him, and then all of a sudden looked up and saw him head on in the wall. And Brett, that's big because I believe he already had used the fast repair.
Yeah, that's really big. As you see, he just got a little bit of contact there with the 333. Looks like James Venning trying to get back around him to possibly make a charge to get one of his lap back. So, I wouldn't be too surprised to see the 44 Tyler King not too happy with that getting involved with the lap car. As you see him on your screen right now, rolling through 1 and 2, it looks like he just gets a really good run on King, gets into the back of him, and then, King comes down to the low side, comes back up, and it's just enough to send him.
Wesley coming down pit road, and how about this for Thurston and Paulison? It worked out. Everyone's on pit road behind him.
Yeah, the gamble played off for those drivers in the orange and blue do of James Thurston, Stephen Paulison of the Jim Beam 58. You see him right now. It'll be 4 tires and fuel. Tyler King will check and see how much damage is on his truck. And even though they pitted less than 10 laps ago, Stabnow, Moore, Lowther, Paulison, White, Brightsman, West Jr., Ottenbacher, all these trucks coming in, 4 tires and fuel, filling up the tanks. This could possibly take them to the finish. But I still got a feeling we're going to see more visits by the Banana Republic flag before this is all said and done. We'll find out how much damage is on the 44 of Tyler King as he rolls away, and the 333 of James Vining as we go under yellow again here at Atlanta.
James Vining in the 333 has parked it and loaded it on the trailer and headed back to the shop to get ready for the Glen in 2 weeks. We got some shuffling going on. We're going to let that all sort out. We're going to take a quick break. You won't miss a thing as we'll be back before the green. You're watching the first round of the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Back live here at Atlanta. Under caution for the 4th time today. Wesley has caught up with the driver who was caught up in it. Very unfortunate for that man, the 44 of Tyler King.
Yeah, Tyler King still on the pit lane with service on that Pills number 44 machine. Tyler, what's your take of what happened? Being in the 3rd place, honestly waiting for Thurston and Paulison to come down to the pit lane in the green flag cycle. You would have been back as the leader. What happened between you and Vining? And by the way, he's out.
Yeah, I can't explain what James was doing there. I know he had fresher tires than I did. So I was basically just, I mean, you could look at the replay, and I'm in the middle of the racetrack. He's got 2 car widths on his outside, and he hooked me. Like no patience, like whatsoever, to get by me. I was gonna let him go. It's super frustrating. I mean, this Peels Mandarins Ford was a hot rod. We had the best truck on the track. I used my fast repair to get fixed up, and I still have 5 minutes of damage, so we're done.
Yeah, Sean Breitzman and again Eric Cheney. We're getting word he's out of the race, but he's on the pit lane as well. A tough break there for Tyler King. He'll have to set it up and get ready next week for Watkins Glen, or actually in 2 weeks for Watkins Glen. But again, you can hear the disappointment in his voice right now, there, guys, as we get ready for a restart.
Definitely a tough break for Tyler King. Such a strong truck. Playoffs not off to the start that he wanted, but fortunately 3 more shots to get it done here in the first round. Well, that's going to change things up significantly because James Thurston is going to lead him to green here, and Chris White does not get going on that restart, Brett. Chris White had something happen. That outside lane has a big advantage here in turn 1.
Yeah, I do believe he may have missed a shift there, Greg, as it looked like everybody just got shot out of a cannon compared to him. So some issues there for that West machine and that number 83, as he currently running 4th. So not losing too much ground as he's able to, get her gathered back up. He's currently sitting on the inside of Dan West Jr. in that number 55. As you pointed out just before, the 2 beneficiaries of that caution the most would be the 2 of James Thurston and the 58 of Stephen Paulson, as they were sitting 1 and 2 on the track when that caution came, as they were getting ready to come down for their green flag pit stops. And you see, just how quick, as we got some chaos going around.
Trouble. And those are playoff drivers, Jeff Stabnow and Devin West in the 24 and the 5. John Ombacher as well. We stay green.
Yeah, looks like everybody was able to keep it gathered back up, as that's significantly going to hurt those playoff drivers, as we're going to get ready to go to the Swag Instant Replay, show you just what happened here, Greg, as you saw it all happen right in front of you.
Let's see, Ottenbacher slides up the track, gets into Devin West, and Jeff Stabnow goes hard into the inside wall, and just like that, all 3 of those pink LSRTV entries in trouble. And just like that, 3 playoff drivers, their day goes from good to bad.
Yeah, this definitely hasn't been the day for the playoff drivers, Greg, as we've seen a lot of playoff drivers having some issues here, whether it be Stabnow getting real loose off the get-go or Dan West Jr. having an outside the top 10 qualifying run. And, also, throw out the troubles for the 44, Tyler King. But as of right now, take a look who is in the top spot right now. The car that you had mentioned didn't have the get up and go on that last restart, the 83 of Chris White. He has got that machine dialed up hot and heavy, as he is starting to pull away from Dan West Jr. and the 58 of Paulson.
White leads the way. Wesley has an update on Team LSR TV.
So I'm going to give you a segment of what we could call here on Live Sim Racing, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, the good is John Ottenbacher. He's okay. Got his machine a little bit of damage, but he's able to continue on. The bad is Devin West. He's going to have to come down to the pit lane and take on a repair to fix it on the damage clock. The ugly, points man, 2nd, running for a championship. Of course, it is Jeff Stabnow, damaged, engine blown, out of the race here at Atlanta.
So 3 stages of drama here in the LSR TV camp, and Jeff Stabnow has parked it for the night, loaded up, and moving on to Watkins Glen in 2 weeks, off week next week, here for the trucks to chance to reset for some of these drivers. Chris White leading the way in the number 83, playoff driver in the Cup Series, not in the playoffs in the trucks as he did not run the full season, but he's got West Jr., a playoff driver who leads the series and wins, right behind him in 2nd. You got Paulson, a playoff driver who has had a nice run staying out, catching that caution, getting himself up in track position. How about Dan Lowther, the pole sitter, back up there in 4th?
Yeah, Dan Lowther having a really good run as he's back up inside that top 5 in that lime green number 63. And, one thing you pointed out, Stabnow going back behind the wall with those motor issues. He's just been struggling all day. He got real loose on the first couple of laps, lost a lot of positions. So, that driver, that 55 right there, sitting in second, Dan West Jr., he's definitely going to want to have a good points night because, with the likes of Stabnow being out, that's the second best driver as far as points go coming out of the regular season. Any stumbles that he takes, and well as vice versa in the other direction, you got to take on full advantage of that. So, Dan West Jr. is probably going to be pushing a little bit extra hard now to try to get around that 83 of White and get the most maximum points gain that he can out of this race here in Atlanta tonight.
Won the race back here in April here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for what was his second win of the season, coming all the way back on April 16th. He also won at Rockingham to kick it off in the third race of the year. But he's got to get around Chris White with just 40 laps to go, and they get back to the line this time. Paulison, Lowther, Corey Walters back up in the top 5 after having to take a fast repair in the early going. Quiet night for Beaver State Racing's Dennis Moore in the 34. He's trying to close back in. Hey, his Atlanta Braves are looking really good in the NLCS, aren't they, Wesley?
Oh, yes. The Braves, after coming off of I don't know what in the world happened to them last night. They were asleep at the wheel or something. 11 runs by the Dodgers in the first inning. They're able to shake off the cobwebs tonight in game number 4. And they win 10-2 over the LA Dodgers. They're going to make their way back to Truist Park in Atlanta, coming up for game number 5, and they can possibly seal the deal here, as right now they lead the series 3-1. Go Braves, chop on. It's on to the World Series.
Just got to beat the Dodgers one more time. And me, as a Dodger fan, definitely not liking that stat line, but anything can and will happen.
You enjoyed that butt kicking last night, though, didn't you?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it. I remember seeing two outs in the top of the first. It's 1-0. All right, no issue. And then when the inning was over, 11-0, I was like, what? White leads the way. West Jr. second. 1.2 seconds back to Paulson. Brett, we're closing in on closing stages here in this one. White leading the way, still looking for that first truck win of the season. He set 14th in points coming into tonight. Second man out. Limited starts for White. Has not run all of them, but he has done a nice job in that number 14. Or 83, excuse me, 14th position in points.
Yeah, White looking to have a good day. As you pointed out, not really in the contention to, make anything better out of this. Just looking to possibly add to the setup book as far as any notes and whatnot. And I'll tell you right now, Greg, he's looking pretty good as he's got the lead, and he's pretty much been able to hold that gap, that about single truck to maybe a truck and a half car length gap over Dan West Jr. So keep an eye on White as we get to the end of this race here. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it all the way on the fuel strategy from there. So I think barring a caution flag, we may have to see some people come down for at least a top off on fuel, Greg. So going to be interesting to see if anybody plays some 2-tire or 4-tire stops as far as strategy goes, just to try to make up some track position here if we do have to come down pit cycle one more time.
Wesley, if you expect the car or drivers to come down pit road one more time, when you would be expecting them?
Well, let's see. We're approaching lap 100. We're under 36 laps to go. I'm thinking if they do come down to the pit lane, of course, we did have that, during the green flag pit stops, another sequence of cautions where they pitted again. Some drivers did. So I'm thinking those that did not, they are probably going to come down to the pit lane around lap 115 to 120.
So watch for them in 15 to 20 laps here in this one. As they come by the line to complete lap 100, 34 to go. We'll go side by side one more time, and then we'll take you to the finish here on LSR TV in the opening round of the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Playoffs, your home for sim racing.
We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom T-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized. I mean, we'll do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the, top quality shirts, inks and everything. Hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold, to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers and stuff. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, T-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com.
30 laps to go here in this one for the opening round of the playoffs. However, coming up in just a couple of days on Sunday afternoon, Sunday, a championship race. Wesley, tell us about what's coming up on Sunday night with the Adrenaline iRacing League.
Oh my goodness, man. Katie bar the door. If everything we heard during commercial timeout comes to fruition, you do not want to miss 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. The championship live on your home for sim racing for the Adrenaline iRacing League Cup Series. 4 drivers amongst the pack fighting for a championship. It should be a good one. And again, they're going to hustle and tussle at Phoenix. The Valley of the Sun should be fun. The championship will be decided Sunday night for the Adrenaline iRacing League Cup Series right here on LSR TV. Don't miss it.
Along with a whole host of other broadcasts. We'll talk more about that in our Clan Wars post-race show of what's coming up, but we definitely wanted to get that plug in for the Adrenaline iRacing League Championship race. 4 drivers. Whoever finishes in front of the other 3 is taking home the championship for the Adrenaline iRacing League, and it's going to be a bittersweet night for us on Sunday, Wesley, because that will be the last time LSR TV will carry the Adrenaline iRacing League.
Yeah, it will. And by the way, y'all ever heard of Blood versus Crips? That's going to be on Sunday. If what we've been hearing is going to come to fruition, there's going to be a battle, a war, and a fight for a championship amongst the way. I got a feeling throughout this season that there's been a little bad blood amongst some of the drivers. They might want payback, and what better way than to do it at the last race of the season? It's going to be a barn burner, explosive race at Phoenix, I believe, and you're going to see it only on LSR TV Sunday night.
And we'll talk more about it on Sunday, but they have an interesting rule when it comes to retaliation and bad blood coming up on Sunday. We'll talk more about that on Sunday night. Make sure you hit the notification bell and that subscribe button down there in the corner to be notified of when that race and all future broadcasts on LSR TV go live.
Charles better create a ring bell.
Oh, he better. Chris White leading the way. He's got the ring bell behind him, though, because Dan West Jr. is knocking on the door. Ding, ding, ding. Slobber knocker time as he's trying to get around Chris White. Paulison in 3rd. Walters and Thurston are top 5. But remember, we're expecting pit stops, and a couple of them have already made the left turn on the pit road, including pole sitter and playoff driver Dan Lowther, Wesley.
Yeah, Dan Lowther has already come down to the pit lane in truck number 63. Again, ready to try to pull the trigger and make a gamble here as we're under 25 laps to go next time by. So some of these drivers making some early opportunities to try to make some strategy here. John Ottenbacher also off of the pit lane. There he goes in truck number 89. Again, we're going to see them pit. This race is far from over.
Ottenbacher on pit road. So Brett getting ready for the last round of pit stops, and Chris White leading the way. West Jr. hanging back there in second. West has damage on the number 55. Do you think he uses the fast repair here, or does he just say, hey, my truck's handling pretty well, I'm going to go for it?
Honestly, I think he uses it just as a precautionary measure. The 55 of Dan West Jr., he's been pretty fast throughout the entire course of the race, and especially over the course of these longer green flag runs. The 55 has just gotten absolutely stronger. I mean, you've seen the gap that he had between him and the 44 of Tyler King previously in the race. Once Tyler King, drove the wheels off of it, he was able to reel him in pretty quick. So I don't think we're seeing the full hand from Dan West Jr. Just as of yet. I think right now he's just buying time and keeping pace with White as we get closer to this finish, Greg. I think Dan West Jr. is pretty much just saving his tires right now for a late race run, because he's looking like he's stalking his prey as he's sizing up Chris White every lap. It looks like he's looking to make his move probably here within the next 10 to 15 laps. So keep your eye on that 55 and the 83 at the front of this field, as this battle's looking like it's going to get hot and heavy, as it looks like we're going to have some pit road issues for, I believe that's the 95 car. Yes, it is the 95 car having issues, Wesley, as Nathan Clifford goes through his pit stall.
Yeah, Nathan Clifford making his debut for the series as Carl Burke also gets ready to come down to the pit lane for service. And he overshot his pit stall. Then when he came back down and hit reverse, he was sideways, and it made it very difficult for the virtual pit crew guys to be able to change those 4 tires and fuel. Carl Burke in his pit stop stall perfectly. 4 tires, fill up the tank, squill of the tires off of pit road as he smokes them. And here comes Chris White, the leader. He will now give up the lead to Dan West Jr., and he makes his way to pit stall box number 2. Chris White in. It's going to be 4 tires. Crew already on the right side. They're going to tear off the windshield to give him a nice visibility to the finish. Now they run over to the left side. 4 tires. Second can of Sunoco fuel going in his Ford number 83. He'll squill away back onto the pit lane. Here comes Dan West Jr. now. He'll give up the lead and give it back to the 2 of James Thurston as he's led for the second time now in truck number 2. Dan West Jr. making sure he doesn't want to make a mistake, as Robert Gamble is also on the pit lane for his money stop. Dan West Jr., the crew there for Team LSR TV 55 for West Racing. It's going to be 4 tires. They're going to go to the right side. Already put 2 new fresh sides on the right side. They're going to jack up the jack on the left side. And 4 new tires going on there. 4 tires. Splash of the tank to fill it up. And he is back down and away. A perfect, flawless pit stop for Dan West Jr. Ready to go here for the home stretch. Greg Rentz ready here at Atlanta to decide who will be the winner this evening.
That's your race leader at this moment, James Thurston in the number 2. The question is, how long can he go? Expecting to see him on pit road again as he is back on cycle with everybody else. But look what is going on now, Brett. Much like the last time we were in a green flag pit cycle, look who's up at the top 2, James Thurston and Stephen Paulison. They got themselves up here because they were able to catch a yellow by stretching that green flag run as long as they can. Could they do it again here?
Hey, they say if Lady Luck strikes once, they may be able to get it to strike again, as it looks like the first car to have already come down and pit is going to be that number 63 of Dan Lowther, and he's just about 30 seconds and coming down with lap time, so he's starting to reel in these front 5. The guy that I'm actually starting to keep an eye on is actually going to be that 46 of Sean Breitzman. He's been really fast throughout the course of the race, and the last time he came down to pit was on lap 83, so I'm imagining if we're going to see anybody possibly throw a 2-tire stop in here and possibly throw some strategy, it may be that 46 of Sean Breitzman. As you can see on your screen right now, he's on 34 lap lap old tires. So Brightsman out there on some old rubber, Greg. So keep an eye on him and possible pit strategy to possibly go 2 tires and steal one here.
I'm going to tell you right now, Wesley can vouch. If anybody is going to try 2 tires at this stage of the race, it's going to be that number 46 of Brightsman. The question is, when and where does he try this pit stop? Thurston continues to lead the way. Paulus second. Ryan Maines in third, but he had a big slide into number 13 down the backstretch. He may be coming down pit road this time into number 13, and he actually might get stuck because Brightsman's peaking low for the 3rd spot on the track. Your net race leader at this moment is Dan Lowther in the number 63, as he's the first truck on fresh tires. Not for long, as Chris White putting pressure on in the number 83. Dan West Jr. right behind him in the number 55. This is all going on about a straightaway ahead of your race leader, James Thurston. But watching for these top 5, Thurston, Paulison, Maines, Brightsman, and Walters to make the left turn on the pit road. Wesley, you've got 5 trucks out there that have yet to come down pit road. When do you pit if you're in the top 5? Do you try to go the whole way as long as you can?
Well, for a driver like maybe James Thurston or Steven Paulison, I would say, yeah, gamble. What do you got to lose? If they can be able to conserve and hold off and not be able to run out of fuel that much per se, then I would say they're going to try to stay out there. They got, less than 14 laps to go. But we look at Paulison, we look at Thurston. He really, really slowed down as you watched him work his way back around turn number 4. But for the guys like we talked about, Sean Brightsman and others, as we see Corey Walters in truck number 9, he'll come down to the pit lane now for service. You got to wonder if Sean Brightsman's going to pull that wild card and go for a 2-tire stop and try to, take a gamble, if you will. We've seen it work so many times for the driver in that number 46 truck. But again, as we come to the end here, Thurston, Paulison, I would say do all you can to conserve. Maybe they can stretch it to the end. We have to look and see. Matter of fact, let's check real quickly. Let's check Thurston when the last time he pitted and his green flag cycle run, what he's on right now in truck number 2. Oh yeah, you see it? Been almost 40-plus laps. Oh, man, I don't know. It's going to be close. It's going to be close, Greg.
He's going to have to go as easy as he can to be able to do it. But Brightsman is right there in the 46. Brett, we talked about Brightsman perhaps coming in on 2 tires. We're closing in on 10 laps to go here. We got 12. Going to be 11 at the line. Do you think Brightsman will go for it and try to stay out there?
Brightsman is actually looking like he's holding about the same speed as around Ryan Maines and James Thurston. As the last time by, these the top 4 drivers were all within the 32 to 33 second bracket. Then if you take a look back to 5th and 6th position, that's going to be the guys that just came in from the race lead and second place, the 83 of Chris White and Dan West Jr. They're about 2 to 3 seconds faster per lap time. As the last time by, Chris White turned a 31.17 and Dan West Jr. with a 31.08 versus your current race leader of James Thurston at a 33.04. So Dan West Jr. and Chris White starting to charge towards the front of this pack, although if the top 4 cars are able to make the distance here, Greg, I don't know if they're going to have enough time to track them down.
Gonna be close as Brightsman's taking a peek inside of Thurston for the race lead. Playoff driver, remember, is Sean Brightsman in that number 46. As well, 3rd place Ryan Maines, 4th place Steven Paulison, 5th place Dan West Jr. All in the playoffs. Wesley was just talking with crew members on the 46.
Hey guys, just checked in with actually multiple drivers and teams for that matter. James Thurston, he is gonna try his best to try to take this to the finish and get his first win on the series. As we got one in the wall, I think it's man, oh man, that's Thurston. Sean Brightsman, he has said that him and the team are still calculating if he can go to the finish or not, but obviously when you take the lead like he's done now, it's going to be hard for him not to stay out. And for Steven Paulison, he is going to go all the way. He is not going to pit. He will gamble in the 58 to the finish as well, as we have under 8 laps to go. And remember, you've got drivers with used tires playing fuel gambles here at Atlanta. It should be a crazy final 8 laps.
But the problem now is Brightsman has damage from that hit to the wall with Thurston. A lot of damage on the 2 of Thurston. So now you got to wonder, Brett, What's that going to do to these trucks for the rest of the race?
Oh, absolutely. You know, if you knock out the toe just a little bit, or even, you know, put a little bit too much torque into that, you know, you could get some engine damage, which could drop the RPMs of your motor here, as I don't really think that's going to be the issue for Brightsman, as he's looking like he's still holding some pretty good speed in that number 46 machine. But keep your eye on that 13 of mains, as he's sitting pretty right now in that third position to, if that number 46 and 2 do have complications from any contact that was to happen there from that incident with the wall, he's sitting real pretty in that bird's eye seat in third to possibly capitalize from any damage that may happen to these two machines. But as of right now, Sean Brightsman looking pretty hot to trot in that number 46 machine, as he's got well over a 2-second lead and growing. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to go the distance with his fuel and tires, Greg, because if not, he's got a hard charging Dan West and Chris White just about 11 to 12 seconds back with fresh tires and fuel that are coming to try to take that spot away from him.
Hey, Brett, and remember as well, buddy, if he wins, he moves into the round of 8. If he wins this race, he's one of the playoff drivers. It's worth gambling. He could be the man to go to win this race as well. That's another reason why they've been talking about not going into the pits.
Just 5 laps to go. Brightsman trying to gamble, but he has damage from that incident with Thurston. Can he hold on for 5, make it 4 more laps?
And the thing that you really got to pay attention here to, Greg, is you see, you know, just how much front end damage he does have on that 46. You know, you got to keep an eye, if you're Sean Brightsman, on that temp gauge. Make sure that you're not overheating that truck. If you do have any radiator damage, as you can see there as he comes down the back straightaway, just that little bit of a bend there in the front nose, just above that Toyota insignia. So a little bit of damage. Not sure if it's enough to, you know, cause any detriment to his race as he comes around to tick off another lap here. So we're going to have 3 laps to go for Brightsman, as he's looking pretty good to be able to go the distance so far here, Greg, but not really looking like that fuel strategy stop for Chris White and Dan West Jr. is going to play off for him here.
Brightsman leading the way. Ooh, he gets close to the wall in that number 46. He just got to limp it around for about 4 more miles here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and he will be through to the round of 8. 3 truck wins on the season, looking for win number 4. He's just 3 miles away from doing it.
Yeah, but don't look now, as you've got that 58 of Paulison trying to hard charge right now, as he just got by the number 2 of Thurston, as it looks like Thurston's got some pretty good damage to that number 2. He's just trying to hang on to dear life for that podium spot. But it's going to be interesting to see if that 58 has anything to track down the 46 of Brightsman. They're turning just about identical lap times. Paulison about 2/10 quicker last time by, but the gap is closing a little bit each time, as Brightsman's going to come by. He's going to take the white flag, as the swag white flag's in the air, Greg. 1 lap to go.
Swag 1 to go. Brightsman trying to hold on and lock himself into the round of 8. Paulison, a playoff driver as well. He can make
He's out
it
of
as
fuel,
well.
guys.
Brightsman's out of fuel. Sean Brightsman's out of fuel. Steven Paulison has a chance to steal it here. Thurston out of fuel as well. Can Paulison make it on fuel? Brightsman still in front. Can Brightsman hold on? The car bobbled. It bobbled. He's going to hang on. He's going to coast. He's going to hold on. Sean Brightsman. The gamble pays off yet again. 4th win of the season. A burp, but he holds on.
Greg, he might not have enough fuel to celebrate and do a burnout like they always do at Victory Lane. But one thing for certain, whether he saved it, burped the throttle, shut off the engine, and had to have a misfire to get back going again, the gamble paid off, and they are celebrating here on pit road right now.
Sean Brightsman's crew steals it yet again, as Brightsman has enough fuel in the tank to just make it across the line, and he's going to need some help back to the front stretch from Dan West Jr. in the 55. But Sean Brightsman, 4th truck win of the season, and Brett, he is through to the round of 8.
Absolutely. Sean Brightsman going to punch his ticket to Watkins Glen in 2 weeks' time. As you see, just a little bit of a push off to try to break the rear end of that truck loose, but he's not going to be able to do it. Sean Brightsman just going to have to pull down to the infield, as it looks like he's going to just come to a halt there, and we're going to have to call the tow trucks in to get the 46 of Sean Brightsman down to victory lane. Oh, as he comes and takes a huge shot from Dan Lowther, as possibly a good celebration effort there, as the 46 machine LSR TV breast cancer awareness pink and white of Sean Brightsman going to take home the victory tonight, and that is going to lock him in to the next round at Watkins Glen.
Celebration underway, the traditional Northwest Demo Derby here on the finish line as they celebrate here as Sean Brightsman gets his 4th win of the season. Brett, let's take him through the finishing order for this one. Sean Brightsman gets the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and he is tumbling down the backstretch. He made it further than he did with the car or truck running in this one. Steven Paulson, a big one for Paulson to finish second, and his eyes went wide as Brightsman started running out of fuel, but had enough to hang on. Paulson second. Chris White fights back for third in the number 83. Dan West Jr., Dennis Moore round out your top 5. James Thurston ran out of fuel coming off turn 2 on the final lap, winds up 6th. Corey Walters in 7th. Nice playoff recovery for him. Carl Burke, Ryan Maines, and John Ottenbacher round out your top 10.
Position number 11 is going to go to the 26 of Ray Foreigner. The 12th position is going to go to the 77 of Tom Green. Then it's going to be the 28 of William Fletcher in 13th. Position 14 going to go to the 63 of Dan Lowther. Then it's going to be the 5 of Devin West. Then it's going to be in position number 16. That's going to be the 11 of Frank Harris. Position 17 going to go to Nathan Clifford. Then it's going to be the 99 of Chris Torres, the 54 of Robert Gamble, and then having a tough night tonight after showing some really big dominance is going to be the 44 of Tyler King.
Coming home in 21st is Jeff Stabnow in the 24. James Vining, a couple more playoff drivers DNFing on the night in 21st and 22nd. Dan Stussy and Eric Cheney, 23rd, 24th. Rounding out the field tonight, Toby Ritters, Wayne Rick, and Russ Lundberg. That is your finishing order here tonight at Atlanta. We're going to take a break to thank our sponsors. When we come back, Brett and Wesley will handle the post-race duties on the Clan Wars postgame show. For those guys, thanks. I'm Greg Rentz. Brett and Wesley will take you to the finish. You're watching the first round of the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Northwest Truck Series playoffs on LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
Gamers hosting gamers worldwide, it is time for the Clan Wars Servers post-race wrap-up show. Clan Wars Servers, the official communication partner of Live Sim Racing. Great job by Greg Rentz on the call for the event. Back up here topside with Brett Rolls to carry this to the finish. And an exciting event when it's all said and done. A fuel gamble, running out of fuel, taking it to the finish though. On mileage and distance, it is Sean Brightsman. He will punch his ticket into the round of 8 as we continue along with the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs for the season 7 of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series. Real quickly, we're going to talk to our top 3. Third place, Chris White, number 83. Chris, a crazy race here at Atlanta. You get on the podium third. What's your take of tonight?
You know, I like Atlanta. Atlanta's good to me. I usually always run good here. Had a very fast Ford F-150 here tonight, and unfortunately we came a couple spots short, and we're not in the playoffs. But, you know, we're out here to have fun and still get those good finishes, and tonight was one of them.
You know, Chris, one thing that you pointed out here is that Ford F-150 of yours, I pointed out in the broadcast the Ford F-150 being one of the newer, actually the newest addition to the truck scene here in iRacing. Ford actually going to jump on and get their manufacturer vehicle in here with the Tundras and the Silverados. What actually attracted you to make the switch from the Chevy or Toyota to the Ford for this series?
But I honestly don't have a good answer for that. I just, I was running the Chevy Silverado for a while. It didn't seem like I was doing what I wanted to do, and like you mentioned, it took a while. Or the Ford F-150 was released. Not sure why it took so many years, but thankfully they released it, and I was able to jump into Ford F-150 and have some unity with that on this side and the Ford Mustang on the Cup side, and ever since we made that switch over, we've been putting up some good finishes. Got a couple wins on the Cup side. And I was looking for one right there tonight here on the F-150 at Atlanta, but came up a couple spots short.
Chris, final question, and we can let you thank your sponsors as well in a segue. The intensity for driving in the playoffs, and then, of course, it's different than the regular season. And, of course, for somebody like yourself not in the playoffs, what kind of strategy do you do when you're running against all these other playoff drivers?
I come in here and run my race as I would if I was in the playoffs. I definitely consider myself a playoff caliber driver, and unfortunately we didn't make it this year. I didn't run some of the races early in the season and just came up a little short. It's kind of unfortunate thinking back to last week, Talladega coming up 0.028 seconds short of a win and getting in. But I'm out here running my race, and I'm going to run my race as I would any other race. And I try to race clean week in and week out. And as you can see right there with Dan West, we ran door to door, bumper to bumper, nice close racing. It was some fun, and you're going to see that from me, and that's what I'm going to do each week. And we're going to still try to put this truck in victory lane and see if we can mix it up in the playoffs.
All right, buddy. Thank your sponsor.
Yeah, Interstate Synthetics on the truck. If you're looking for AMSOIL, visit interstatesynthetics.com. They got the best of AMSOIL there. Got to thank you guys, LSR TV, in the broadcast booth. Excellent broadcast. Looking forward to finishing out the year here strong. And got to thank West Bay, Napa West Bay Auto, for coming on board and sponsoring the playoffs this year. So thanks to you all, and congrats to Sean on the win tonight and moving on to the next round.
Chris White, third place here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Going to talk now to the runner-up of the race, Steven Paulison. Probably what will be the best finish in your career for the Northwest Truck Series tonight. It is the runner-up position, second. What was going through your mind when you saw him slow Brightsman down the back straightaway? Did you feel like you had a shot to go after him for the win?
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought he was too far ahead, and I caught Chris and maybe Dan and Dennis and James, and then all of a sudden he was only 1.7 and at the end 0.8, but I think he still had some fuel left. I had a little bit left coming around into the middle of the back stretch, so I didn't quite get it right. I could have gone a little harder there from last lap, or the second 2 laps instead of just the last lap. But it's pretty unusual to finish the race and see the common first place driver Sean Brightsman right in front of you, so that's pretty cool.
Now, one thing that I wanted to ask you, Steve, we saw you and James Thurston kind of stretch out your fuel strategy there, not over the last little stretch there to the checkered, but the situation where you guys ended up getting, the luck of catching that caution flag there. How close were you to actually getting ready to come down pit road just before that caution came out?
Hey, I would have liked the caution come out a few laps later or none at all. I definitely had enough to make it a few more laps, maybe 4 more at that point. And then when we came out after the caution, I didn't think I had a chance to make it to the end. And I was racing pretty hard, and I think we're 3 wide when Chris and Dan went by me, and wasn't really thinking of it. And then all of a sudden I realized I better start saving. So I started saving quite a ways through the second stint, maybe halfway through.
Steven, final question for you, bud, and then you can thank your sponsors as well. How did it feel knowing you were so close on the cusp of winning?
Yeah, it almost looked like if I would have pushed harder. But I think Sean probably still had fuel and was just playing the gap, which is what I would have done if I was him. So I think it would have been nice to win for sure. Haven't won in this series, so that would have been great.
Thank your sponsors.
Well, I'd like to thank you guys at LSR TV and thank the Da Vinci Racing Group, which, James Vining and Robert Gamble and Frank Harris and the one and only West Bay Napa Auto Parts, Tom Green, who, again, tweaked the setup that I ended up using, and it worked well for me. And I thank them all for working on sets with me, because they're way better at it than I, and they help with strategy during the race a lot. So they kind of direct me what to do a lot of times, which is great. So I really thank them.
And by the way, in closing, Stephen Paulison was starting the points in 8th in the Napa Auto Parts, West Bay Auto Parts point standings for the playoffs. A good points day for him, as we'll see him in a couple of weeks at Watkins Glen. The winner of the event started this race in the playoffs tonight at Atlanta in 5th, and now he picks up his 4th win of the season. He will now move into the round of 8 coming up after the first 3 races concluded in the round of 12 for the Napa West Bay Auto Parts playoffs. And Sean Brightsman, congratulations to you. We have seen you do so many crazy gambles, whether it's 2 tires, doing what you did at the Daytona Road Course, and this is another historic one that we'll take for the record books. Talk about the strategy of staying on track, pushing it to the limit, running out of fuel, burping the throttle, whatever you try to do, and having that big of a gap over second place Paulison to get the win.
Woo! Boy, Wes, I got to tell you, man, I'm pumped to be moving on to the round of 8. Get this one right off the bat, and I couldn't be more proud of the LSR TV Toyota Tundra. That thing drove like a rocket, saved fuel like a Prius, and let me tell you, oh my gosh, it feels great.
Sean, at this point, I think I'm going to give you a nickname here. From now on, I'm just going to start calling you Sean the Big Bet Brightsman, because, it doesn't matter where you are on the track. It seems like every race that I see you in, you are somehow throwing caution to the wind with your pit strategies, and you somehow... I don't know if you happen to have like a lucky rabbit's foot or something stuffed inside that number 46 machine or what, but you always seem to come out on the good end of the pit strategies that you play. And, tonight was no other. You weren't up front the entire night, but showed a lot of strength there. Coming towards the end of the race, when you saw Chris White and Dan West Jr. come down to the pit, did you know at that point that you had, a really good shot at coming home with a checker? Or do you think that if possible late race caution had come, that you may have been a sitting duck for them?
Oh man, so kind of a little bit of both. So the one about the rabbit's foot, I definitely have, for some reason, luck on my side here in the Northwest Racing Series. But the pit strategy kind of plays a little bit part of what happens before that. So I got a speeding penalty, so I had to start it back. So I figured I'd pit a couple more times and get as much fuel as I could, because it looked like it was going to be close. And obviously the green stayed out. There was no caution, so we were able to utilize that extra fuel and save on just enough as we ran out, probably just a little bit before the start finish.
John, how does it feel to know that obviously you get a week off next Thursday night, but going through Watkins Glen, the road course, that could be a wild card. Richmond short track racing, going to be a crazy one. Charlotte coming up for the Roval. And you at least know that if anything bad luck happens for you along the way, you transfer in to the Championship 8 onto Iowa.
It honestly feels amazing. This field is stacked here in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs, and I look for more competition. So knowing that I am advancing into the round of 8 and it's just going to get tougher, I'm just ecstatic knowing that I got the upper hand at least here for this race and punched my ticket.
Thank your sponsors. Congratulations to you, bud.
Just got to thank LSR TV for sponsoring the Toyota Tundra. Also got to thank West Bay Napa Auto Parts for coming on board as the playoff sponsor. Also got to thank my wife and her newly created creation, Bright's Boutique. If you have wives, girlfriends, whatever, custom handmade clay molding, painted acrylics, acrylic paint, you can check it out at etsy.com/shop/Bright's Boutique. So appreciate it, and we look forward to a couple weeks from now.
All right, buddy. Sean Brightsman again winning in the Northwest iRacing Truck Series West Bay Napa Auto Parts Playoff Round number 1. 8 races remain now before we decide a champion at Phoenix in January. And at least one thing for certain, Sean Brightsman playing the gamble, running out of fuel, still having the mileage and distance over Paulison to pick up the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It was fun working the pit lane, something different. Guy had a couple of other announcer obligations and got here a little bit later than usual. Brett, as always, you and Greg, a great job. What's your final thoughts here from being in the booth at Atlanta? We take a week off and then we prepare for Watkins Glen.
Yeah, honestly, Atlanta is probably one of my favorite mile-and-a-half tracks when it comes to the NASCAR circuit. So, pretty good race, as you know, is accustomed to seeing when you come to a track like Atlanta. A lot of high action, high speed racing, a lot of tire wear to be involved. Which plays into your strategy overall. I'm really looking forward to the race at Watkins Glen in 2 weeks. As I pointed out a little bit earlier, Watkins Glen, a little bit biased on this, but hands down my favorite road course. I definitely missed seeing it on the actual NASCAR schedule this year with them going to the Daytona road course, but it's going to be pretty interesting to watch. I think I'll be sitting at home and watching that one, if not possibly trying to come out and play with the boys a little bit at Watkins Glen, as it's one of my favorites. So yeah, just going to sit back for the next 2 weeks and wait for Watkins Glen and see if we're going to be up in the booth as a pit reporter for you and Greg, or if we're going to actually pull out the old truck for Team Vanderpool and give her a shot for LSR TV.
And that'll put Atlanta in the books. The next round for the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Playoff for the Northwest iRacing Truck Series again will be in 2 weeks on Thursday, October 29th. Round number 2 in the round of 12. And again, that will be at Watkins Glen International. For the Cup boys, Justin Prince, Greg Rentz, myself on the pit lane. That will be coming up on Monday night, this upcoming Monday night, October the 20th, as we will have coverage again for, my apologies, October 19th. Monday night, October the 19th at 11:15 Eastern Time with coverage of the playoff opener right here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. As always, follow coverage at livesimracing.com, your home for sim racing at LSR TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Next race broadcast will be tomorrow night with the On the Rail Paints Fall Brawl. And then, of course, remember, there will be a 6-hour endurance race from the World Center of Racing Daytona with the Cup cars, not on the road course, on the big speedway. That will be on Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 Central, 6-hour endurance race from Daytona. And then again, as we mentioned earlier, the championship will be decided in the Adrenaline iRacing League for the Cup boys. It should be a Bloods versus Crips brawl for all on the Phoenix Raceway to decide the champion. A great race set up for Sunday. As always, again, follow us at livesimracing.com. The voices you heard in the broadcast, of course, on production, Mr. Charles Wooten for LSR TV. For Greg Rentz and Brett Rolls, I'm Wesley Outland. Thank you for joining us. Good night from Atlanta. Congratulations to Sean Brightsman. He wins here tonight and moves on to the Napa West Bay Auto Parts Championship playoffs in the round of 8. And we get ready for Watkins Glen. Good night.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of 52 Media LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.